and Lamott's shitty first drafts, readers gain insight on the methods and strategies that Lamott and some of her colleagues utilize in order to produce quality writing that has gotten them to become authors and professional reviewers. For me and most other writers I know, writing is not rapturous. In fact, the only way I can get anything written at all is to write really, really shitty first drafts, Lamott said. To me, this sounded really insane at first glance. Writing is supposed to be good, and you should feel accomplished and proud for every single word that you pour onto the paper. Doesn't writing a poorly written, jumbled up mess of words basically defeat that purpose? However, as I thought more into it, the process actually makes a lot of sense. Lamott explains the first draft is the child's draft, where you let it all pour out and then let it romp all over the place, knowing that no one is going to see it and that you can shape it up later. You just let the childlike part of you channel whatever voices and visions come through and onto the page. Start by getting something, anything, down on paper. A friend of mine says that the first draft is the down draft. You just get it down. The second draft is the up draft. You fix it up. You try to say whatever you have to say more accurately. And the third draft is the dental draft, where you check every tooth to see if it's loose, cramped, or decayed. This is my favorite quote of the entire reading. It really pieced all of the ideas together and provided me with a clear and accurate description of the way in which all writers should follow this process. When I was beginning to write my college essays at the beginning of senior year, this was the very best advice that any teacher or tutor could have given me. I wrote a very, very shitty first draft and brought it back to my tutor the next day. We pulled ideas that we enjoyed and thought fit the purpose. However, we also took out some ideas that strayed away from the main topic of the essay or was just unnecessary information. It took me so long to decide what to finally write about. Therefore, I wrote shitty first drafts for about 4 or 5 different essay topics and eventually narrowed it down to one. It was a really helpful strategy that I used. This quote by Lamott addresses her process in writing her food reviews. I'd write a first draft that was maybe twice as long as it should be, with a self-indulgent and boring beginning, stupidifying descriptions of the meal, lots of quotes from my black-humored friends that made them sound more like Manson girls than food lovers, and no ending to speak of. The whole thing would be so long and incoherent and hideous that for the rest of the day, I'd obsess about getting crammed by a car before I could write a decent second draft." End quote. But even though this process was long, annoying, and sometimes made Lamott want to pull her teeth out, she did it every single month that she had to write a food review because this method always turned out to be very successful for her. The right words and sentences just do not come pouring out like ticker tape most of the time. It's a necessity to write shitty first drafts, and now all writers write them. This is how they end up with good second drafts and terrific third drafts. Thank you.